Imagine waking up in a hospital bed. The fluorescent lights hum quietly above you. Your arm is wrapped in tubes. Machines beep beside your bed. Nurses whisper outside the curtain. But here's the disturbing part. You're not actually sick. Your test results are normal. Your body is healthy. There's nothing medically wrong with you, and yet you insist something is. You describe pain that doesn't exist. You exaggerate symptoms. Sometimes you even create them. Not for money, not to escape work, but for something far stranger. Attention. Why would someone willingly undergo painful tests, surgeries, and endless hospital visits just to pretend they're ill? This disturbing behavior has a name: Munchausen Syndrome, a psychological condition where someone deliberately fakes, exaggerates, or even induces illness, simply to be seen as a patient. No financial reward, no legal benefit, no obvious gain, just the need to be treated like someone who is suffering. Doctors call it factitious disorder imposed on self, a condition so bizarre that even medical professionals sometimes struggle to believe it's real. But the real mystery isn't what these people do. The real question is, why would the human mind crave illness? Segment 1: The Disturbing Origins. The name Munchausen comes from an unusual place. An 18th century German nobleman named Baron Munchausen became famous for telling outrageous, impossible stories. He claimed he once rode a cannonball through the air, that he escaped a swamp by pulling himself up by his own hair. His tales were so exaggerated that his name eventually became synonymous with fantastical lies. In 1951, British physician Richard Asher noticed something strange happening in hospitals. Patients kept arriving with dramatic medical stories. They described rare conditions. They claimed to have had dozens of surgeries. Their symptoms were theatrical, detailed, and convincing. But something didn't add up. Medical tests kept coming back normal. When doctors started investigating their histories, they discovered many of these patients had traveled from hospital to hospital across the country. Different names, different symptoms, different dramatic stories every time. Some had scars from unnecessary surgeries. Others had intentionally poisoned themselves just to create symptoms. They weren't scammers seeking money. They simply wanted the role of the patient, the sympathy, the care, the attention. So Asher named the phenomenon after the legendary storyteller, Munchausen Syndrome. As the years went on, researchers began to realize how complex and disturbing the disorder could be. It wasn't just about attention, it was about identity. The patient role became a performance, one that required constant vigilance and creativity. Doctors struggled to confront it because the individuals were often charming, articulate, and seemingly sincere. They could manipulate medical staff, convincing even the most experienced clinicians of the severity of their condition. And what doctors discovered next was even more disturbing. Some people weren't just harming themselves, they were harming others. This form, later called Munchausen by proxy, often involved caregivers, usually parents, inflicting real injury or illness on children or dependents. The motivation was the same: attention, sympathy, and control. But the consequences were devastating. Families were torn apart, innocent lives were endangered, and yet, the patients often remained invisible, hidden behind their convincing performances, leaving doctors, psychologists, and society grappling with a puzzle that was as tragic as it was baffling. Segment 2: The Dark Psychology Behind It. But the psychology goes even deeper than that, because for many people with this disorder, the hospital becomes more than just a place of treatment. It becomes a stage. Think about the environment: doctors asking questions, nurses checking in every hour, family members expressing concern, visitors bringing flowers and sympathy. In that moment, the patient becomes the center of an entire system of care. For someone who grew up feeling invisible, that attention can feel intoxicating. The brain begins to associate hospital rooms with emotional safety, and once that connection forms, breaking it becomes incredibly difficult. Many patients with Munchausen syndrome become experts in medical language. They memorize symptoms. They research rare diseases. Some even learn how to manipulate lab results. There have been cases where patients secretly added blood to urine samples, tampered with thermometers to fake fevers, or took drugs that would alter their blood chemistry. To doctors, the symptoms initially look real, and that's what makes this disorder so difficult to detect. When physicians begin questioning the inconsistencies, many patients simply disappear. They leave the hospital, travel to another city, and start the entire process again. A new name, a new illness, a new set of doctors who don't know the past. Some individuals have repeated this cycle dozens of times across multiple countries. Hospitals even have an unofficial nickname for these patients, hospital hoppers. But the real tragedy of Munchausen syndrome isn't just the deception, it's the silent suffering underneath it. Because behind the fabricated illnesses is often a person who feels that the only way to be cared for is to be sick. For them, attention is not vanity, it is survival. The disorder often grows out of early neglect, trauma, or feelings of abandonment. In some cases, the patients have never experienced unconditional care, and the hospital becomes a rare place where they feel recognized and validated. Yet this validation comes at a terrible cost. They harm themselves, sometimes severely, to maintain it. They are trapped in a cycle of illness and attention, one that blurs the lines between reality and performance, between need and deception. And even when the truth is uncovered, the psychological scars remain, making recovery a complex and delicate journey that requires patience, empathy, and understanding, not just medical intervention. Segment 3: The real-world case that shocked everyone. One of the most chilling cases involved a girl named Gypsy Rose Blanchard. To the outside world, Gypsy looked like one of the sickest children in America. She was in a wheelchair. She used a feeding tube. Doctors believed she had leukemia, muscular dystrophy, and severe brain damage. Her mother, Dee Blanchard, appeared to be the definition of a devoted caregiver. Charities raised money for them. They were given a free house. People praised Dee as a mother who sacrificed everything. But there was a horrifying secret. Gypsy wasn't actually sick. Investigators later discovered Dee had fabricated almost every diagnosis. She shaved Gypsy's head to mimic chemotherapy. She forced her into a wheelchair even though she could walk. She manipulated doctors by falsifying medical records and exaggerating symptoms. Gypsy spent her childhood trapped in a body that doctors believed was broken. But the truth eventually came out in the most shocking way possible. At age 23, Gypsy helped plan the murder of her own mother. When police uncovered the story, the world realized something disturbing. For years, doctors, charities, and entire communities had been deceived, all because one person desperately needed the identity of the heroic caretaker. It was one of the most extreme examples of Munchausen by proxy ever documented. But here's the unsettling part. Cases like this are believed to be far more common than we realize. Many are never discovered. The twist in application. Now, before you assume this disorder is extremely rare and distant from everyday life, think about something familiar. Have you ever exaggerated a symptom just a little? Maybe you said your headache was worse than it actually was. Maybe you stayed home from school because you felt sick when you were really just stressed. Almost everyone has done something like that at some point. It's normal. But Munchausen syndrome exists on the extreme end of that spectrum, where the brain becomes trapped in a dangerous feedback loop, attention to illness to care to more attention. In a strange way, it reveals something uncomfortable about human psychology. We all crave validation. We all want to be seen. For most people, that need shows up in harmless ways. But for some minds, it turns into a performance of suffering, and the stage becomes a hospital. But Munchausen syndrome exposes something even darker about the human mind. Because sometimes, people don't just fake illness. Sometimes they fake entire personalities, online identities, fake trauma, invented life stories designed to attract sympathy and admiration. Psychologists call this phenomenon impression management, the art of controlling how others see you. And in the age of social media, it has become more powerful than ever, which raises a chilling question. How many people around you are showing you their real selves? And how many are performing a carefully constructed story?